Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hairloss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
What is happening, Joseph W. Tillman? How are you, man?
W? Where's that come from?
I just like, I want you to have a middle initial, and I don't know yours, so I think it fits.
Okay, well, we'll take that one then. I'm fine. How are you, sir?
I am okay. I know that you've been feeling a little bit under the weather, but you look good, and you're sounding pretty good.
Well, it's all due to drugs, my friend. Feeling good.
Drugs work.
Drugs work.
Drugs work.
In all honesty, I'm fired up because it has been a busy week. Aside from fighting this returning cold, which is just pissing me off to be sick again, it's fun for me. I'll say I'm motivated again, more so now than I've been in a long time when it comes to this crazy industry we call hair. And we're going to be talking more about that later on. But that's the reality of my situation in response to your question. I'm fired up.
I can tell you why I'm more fired up, but we didn't even have a discussion about this week.
Mm-mm.
Why are you more fired up?
I'm fired up because I'm pretty happy with this new format I came up with for a live stream, and that's to do a reaction video live stream where I can interact with people that have questions, they have their own comments, they have their own opinions. If I can just get my damn phone system to work, it'd be gold. But, you know, I hadn't used it in a while and forgot how to use it. But I did a live stream reaction video to a video by Matt Dominance. You know him, you love him. And, you know, I wasn't slamming Matt. Like, I have, like, you know, he does his thing, that's fine. But I went through it, and he had these 5 steps on how to get your hair back. It's, you know, clickbait, and that's fine, whatever. But one of the steps was really off base, and it was so off base. He actually responded in my comment section. I pinned it as the first comment in the comment section, where he's explaining the mistake that he made, and he owned up to it. And you know, props to him. I was happy to hear from him. Happy to pin that to the top to act as an explanation. He actually cut that part out of his video. But the reason why I'm fired up because of this is because it has something to do, it kind of segues into the title of today's episode, Is It Time to Call Out Bad Hair Clinics? And I don't think it's time to call out bad hair clinics because that ship has sailed. You used to do that. That's how you first made your name in this crazy industry. Was it 45 years ago, something like that? And
it was in the late 1950s.
Yeah.
I remember my parents had an RCA radio, and the first time they heard my voice, they fucking lost it.
The family was gathered around the radio to listen to you.
The family was gathered around the radio. My mother was doing the laundry in the kitchen sink using her washboard. Different times. But, you know, just to touch on that, you know, back in 1998, yeah, that's how I did make my name. And it was a big deal. People were pretty shocked. They were kind of put back on their heels. Why do I have this puff basketball? Put back on their heels. And, you know, because it was on the radio and on big stations starting in New York, I was, you know, I was sued I think within 2 months of getting on the air. And the reason I was sued is it wasn't that I was calling out this particular clinic. Once I turned on that microphone, once people heard what I was speaking about, that, you know, how fucked up the industry was, And they learned about my book, and they started to read The Bald Truth and then tune in. All of a sudden, this one particular clinic, their patients kept calling. And it was a very well-known clinic in the New York tri-state area. They did a lot of advertising. They were in the back of every sports page in the Post and the Daily News in New York. They were doing little infomercials, late-night infomercials. And they were the people in New York that people, when they thought of getting their hair back, besides the hair club, it was this particular, these two docs. To try to make a long story short, it was overwhelming. So yeah, it seemed like we were doing the program every week about this particular clinic. But the truth is, it was just great radio because people, person after person was calling in to talk about their experiences, and they were insane to the point where at one point, this clinic had a technician who was a New York City sanitation worker, had him in. Basically, the guy worked, I don't know if he worked part-time or whatever it is. Long story short, he was essentially telling patients after their first procedure, listen, if you want another one, just call me and we'll do it for half the price. And they were doing midnight hair transplants at this clinic. Now, that was exposed on the front cover of, I think it was a Daily News back in the day. I'm not going to say how that occurred, but it's possible that the show had something to do with it. I don't know. But it was a lot of, it was very difficult. And I was able to do it, and these guys essentially tried to cancel me. They carried on the lawsuit. I was on several stations at one point. They sued every radio station that I was on. But the thing is, I had absolute truth on my side. I contacted every radio station, including CBS here in Los Angeles, and I said, listen, don't take me off the air. I will sign whatever you need me to sign, and I will pay all of your legal fees. CBS said, don't worry about it. I'll cover it. And they had never had any talent that was willing to do that before. So I was just like, yeah. Anyway, long story short, they settled, and the settlement was that I could no longer speak about their clinic for more than half of my broadcasts every week in a derogatory fashion. That's all I would settle for.
Less than 50%. That's hilarious.
So the big clinics like Bosley and Medical Hair Restoration, even though some guy allegedly guys from Medical Hair Restoration kind of went around to try to pull my sponsors, and they were successful at some point, allegedly. I mean, someone did it, but I was told it was them, but it's alleged. They never came after me because they knew that we had absolute truth on our side and that I wasn't going to back down. But now we are at a different point in time where we can't do that anymore because there's so many bad clinics. You got to try to just provide people with information on what to look for and what to avoid.
And that's what I was getting to. It's like, the format that I think I was the first person to do that, to do a reaction video during a live stream. I've not seen it before, at least in our space, in our little niche of the interwebs. And it was really interesting, the comments that I was getting, not just during the live stream, but also afterwards. And majority of the comments, I'd say 95%, if I were to guess, were overwhelmingly positive. There are a few people saying that I was being unfair, which I disagree with, because I was very clear up front that it wasn't about him, it was about the information. And people need to understand how to separate the two. I don't know this kid. I do disagree with some of the things that he's doing. I do disagree with some things he says, but I don't know him, and I fully endorse and support his right to earn a living the way that he sees fit. That's not what this is about. It's about the information. And because we can't go after all these clinics and talk about who's bad and who's terrible and all this, because there's just so many, the only thing that I can do, or one of the things I can do, is I can talk about the information that's actually helping to feed these lowered expectations of what a final result should be, of what is has essentially changed the landscape or has contributed to furthering the changing of the landscape over the past several years. It's bad information. And I don't know, what the motivation is for some of this information. And I'm not talking about Matt, I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about hair transplant influencers. I do know what part of the motivation is, and that's clickbait, so that they get clicks and they make money based on whatever service or product that they're selling. I'm very happy with the fact that I have never once been in that position where I rely on clicks, I rely on views to make money because I don't sell anything. So I think that kind of, I don't know, I like being in that position. I'm very relieved that I made that decision many years or several years ago. But moving forward, I'm going to be doing more of these, and I'm looking for suggestions. Like if there's a video that someone isn't quite sure about and they want me to review it and I got time, then yeah, I'll do another live stream and I'll do a reaction video to some of these informative videos out there that are very possibly misleading people or giving bad information, misleading information that's leading further to potentially bad decisions that have lifelong consequences.
Well, I'm going to give you a little insight.
Lightly.
You shouldn't
I
take
don't
it
take any of
lightly.
this lightly.
I'm going to give you a little insight. There's a guy on my Instagram who has, he believes that he's had a really good experience going to one of these big Turkish clinics. And he may have, at this point, be very happy with his work. And I'm glad that he is. And I absolutely do not want this kid to ever suffer. But when I read his comments, look, everyone has the right to their opinion. And I would never remove their opinions from my Instagram. And now that I'm posting more, my Instagram seems to be growing, which is great. But
yeah,
this particular person is, really spreading all of this misinformation and advising young people to really go down the wrong route. It's not about going to Turkey. It's not about going anywhere in particular. It's about the route that this guy actually took. And I'm actually going to read some of this stuff.
Okay.
And I can't find it all. But I essentially, let me see if I could find something here. 1 second. Because it's really interesting how captured these kids are. And I understand there is confirmation bias because he decided to have a hair transplant. He decided to go down this route. He decided to have 4,500 grafts moved.
Sorry, Spencer, real quick, your image is frozen.
This fucking video card, man. Can you hear me, though?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you fine.
You
look fantastic, but you're not
Thank
moving.
you. Let's hope that I don't have to reboot this system, man. That would really suck.
That would suck.
All right, well, you speak. I had a good thought process here. Go ahead.
Am I frozen? No, okay, I just want to make sure. But while Spencer's looking for that, I'll just say I had a similar situation where I was in this Facebook chat group, and I had someone was asking about advice from the other members, and he mentioned getting strip surgery, and one of the members chimed in saying, don't go for an FUT. You can't get more than 2,000 grafts, and you'll be left with a big scar. Where are people getting this information? You can't get more than 2,000 grafts? I mean, what carried FUT through the 2000s was progress with the size of surgeries going well above 2,000 grafts, well above 5,000 grafts with several, a few clinics, namely the one I work for, Hassan Wong, were renowned for getting between 4,000 and 6,000 grafts multiple times during the week. Haddingen Hair, a fantastic clinic in Switzerland, routinely getting between 4,000 and 6,000 grafts in one pass via FUT, and most of the time the scar is turning out pretty darn acceptable. So it's that kind of information that is, it's very, how can I put it, just unfortunate
All right, look,
that
man, I don't know what's
what
going
people
on,
are
like-
being told is being disseminated through the layers and filters from the top down.
I don't know what's
And it's
going on with
becoming-
my capture card, and I'm going to interrupt you, and I don't want to have to restart this, so you may just hear my voice for a while, and I'll see if I could have Andrew or someone come in here and fix this without me having to reboot. But I am frozen on the screen, so you're going to hear my voice, guys. And so this guy has been, posting on some of my recent Instagram posts, essentially warning people about, moving a lot of grafts, and that, FUE grafts, especially when they're taken outside of what is thought to be more of a safe zone or DHT resistant zone. It's so weird not being able to see myself. DHT resistant zone. That this is a surgery that now, especially if physicians are claiming that's going to last a lifetime, will not last a lifetime. Many of these guys who have these large sessions, especially when they're taken outside of the safe zone, which they have to be, a lot of this hair will start to miniaturize, even if they have strong donors. If they're not on medication especially, will start to miniaturize within 2 or 3 years of the procedure, maybe sooner. Within 5 years, they may have 50% less density in the hair transplant. And, within 10 years, they may be completely fucked or less. So essentially this guy comes on, he's like, I don't understand what this guy is selling, but I had a hair transplant. I went to something of Istanbul, and, it's changed my life, yada, yada, yada. And then he brings up all of the misinformation that is out there. So a guy actually asked me about my post on diminished donors, and that was made like 2 days ago. And he said, I had no idea there's a possibility. I told him that it was, and I said, just be careful, make sure you're on medication. These are just some nuances of the surgery that you don't really see out there on social media anymore. And so this guy writes, I'm sorry if I seem a little all over the place here, because I can't find.
I don't seem anything. All we can do is hear you.
Yeah. Well, the problem is I can't find stuff that's in order on this.
Oh yeah.
This app. I don't even know how to use it yet. So this one guy writes me. He goes, Spencer, and this isn't the guy I'm talking about. And this is a reasonable question. He writes, almost every balding man you see has strong hair on the sides and the back. Some shave it completely, and some don't care and grow that band of hair, like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Smiley face. I was under the impression that this area was used, and they call it the donor area, true, because on most men, this area does not bald anymore, anywhere near like the top and the sides of the scalp. So a very high percentage of follicles in that area don't have the DHT gene and will last a lifetime, ? Surely, if that were not true, you'd never see these men with the hair left on the side, back, etc. And I responded, and I said, I wish that were all true, but, given today's market, a lot of the DHT-resistant hair is really not being moved, so a much higher percentage of hair that will eventually miniaturize is being put into very dense hairlines, so on and so forth. So this guy who had, a Turkish hair transplant writes to this particular person, he said, yes, that's exactly right. Side and back are stronger areas of D8, and DHT doesn't actually affect. Plus, there's more blood circulation in those areas. Now, look, this is a kid. He doesn't know shit. I understand that he was sold a hair transplant. He wants to believe this. But, that's really dangerous misinformation, especially since it's just continuing to be perpetuated. In what world does this guy think that you have more blood circulation on the sides of your scalp, first of all, than in the top of your scalp, which is incredibly vascular? And in what world does this guy believe that DHT doesn't affect any of the hair in the donor? I understand what world. This is what he's been sold, and this is what's being perpetuated. And then he goes on basically saying, don't listen to this guy, whatever. And then I decided to add this comment to Dr. Leo Sauer, who's been commenting on my stuff, just to see what he had to say. So he writes a very reasonable response, And then this kid writes again, but this doctor also is doing hair transplant as well as he's not even good one. Because he has 20,000 followers, which most of the followers are ghost/paid because he has 60 likes per pictures. If he was that good, trust me, a lot of people would know him and they would know the doctor that did my hair transplant. Ask Akon, the singer, David Beckham, so on and so forth. So while this guy is writing in broken English, his whole point is, it's just what we're talking about. People believe that if you have followers, that this somehow creates, or if you're an influencer, this somehow creates a level of expertise. When in reality, most of the physicians in this field who have the least followers, who spend the least time on social media, who can give two shits about it, they only do it because they have to.
Yeah.
Are the true experts in this field. It is actually the opposite. In general, when it comes to hair transplant surgery and cosmetic surgery, the more followers you have, the more comments and engagement you have, the more time these companies have to exchange ideas and information and sell their surgeries online, the lower the quality of the work and the less they actually care about the shit that they do. These are fucking doctors.
It's very... That's true. I never thought of it like that.
But this is the mentality. Other people have asked me this as well. You know, I am verified on this platform. You had to fill out this thing, and they basically look at your, you know, if you've been published or your articles and stuff like that. So I don't have a lot of followers, but they verified me, you know, and other platforms as well, because I'm apparently a real person. You know, I'm verifiable. So... But I still only have like 4,000 followers on Instagram. Does that mean that the information that we have is less valuable than a company that has 1 million some odd followers that's selling hair transplants? In these kids' eyes, it is. This is the wacky fucking world that we live in. Isn't it nice just listening to my voice for a change? I feel like I'm on the radio.
It really is, but I noticed that we're getting more viewers the less that you're on camera. So
oh, good. So I'll stay off camera.
It works.
Yeah, I like that. And we may actually have to we may have to do the entire show like this, Joe, because I don't think that once that capture card is frozen, I have to reboot this system.
How many times have you had to rebuild your system since we started doing the show together?
No, reboot. Not rebuild.
No, rebuild, because your capture cards keep failing on you.
This capture card is, well, rebuild. I just have to get another capture card. But I don't know why this capture card is failing. This is like a $4,000 capture card.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, back to your point, though. I think that
but if you want
I've
to
never
see
thought of
me,
that correlation, but it makes a lot of sense. There we go. All right, so for everyone tuning in just now, and you were just seeing me, now you see frozen Spencer, it's because he's frozen. Not in carbonite, but on screen. His capture card has frozen. So, yeah, if you want a song and dance, it's just me. I don't know what that was. But yeah, I never thought of that correlation, and it's quite fascinating that you bring that up, because it's never, that's never crossed my mind. It's always been surprising to me to see, you know, how many clinics, you know, had to have purchased all these followers, but apparently it works. If you got 1 million followers, whether they're fake or not, people look at that as, and you can't blame them if they don't know anything about what's going on behind the scenes. It all makes sense, but at the same time, it's the kind of misinformation that you're just reading from that one person that posts on your Insta, and the kind of things I'm seeing. Like this is why it is important to not go after bad clinics, but to go after bad information. And so circling back to what I was talking about, this is the way forward for me. For us on the show, if we can figure out how to incorporate something into this. But you know, maybe we could have, instead of mean tweets, we could have bad information where we read bad information that we find online or people send to us.
Well,
and we can
I think that's actually it's a
disseminate.
really good idea. And I have a lot of and I just want to let this guy know if he's listening. I know he's from Spain. I know he's psyched about his hair transplant, and I want him to be happy. He's 3 years out, and I really hope that he is the anomaly, the guy that, this is a long-lasting procedure for him, that he never needs to go back into that donor bank and decimate the rest of his donor. And then if he does, maybe he just needs a few hundred to 1,000 grafts done. Mm-hmm. But that's not the way it normally turns out. That is not today's new normal. Today's, and I wrote this today, hair transplant surgery, the trends in hair transplant surgery in 2023 are inappropriate hairlines that just don't occur in nature, incredibly dense packing in areas that really shouldn't even be dense packed, really bizarre temporal points that are being built out at really shitty angles.
Or heights. Like I remember seeing some that are like right below the actual hairline. It's like built into the hairline itself where it kind of juts back out. It's really bizarre.
But the transition zones are really for shit. So once these guys start to bald a little bit more, and that they're, I don't know, as a Jew, it's bad luck to point to yourself. But you guys can't see that, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be concerned about it because I was just pointing my head, and I'm looking at myself now, and I am just like, I look like I'm a frozen statue. I look like some actor. I don't look like myself. Who is that?
Well, someone said you look like Han Solo frozen in carbonite.
Oh, well, maybe that's.
And you kind of do.
I think I look more like kind of like a I don't know, a more fit Dave Grohl, I guess, frozen in carbonite.
Maybe because of the goatee.
Yeah, and the eyes.
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, definitely the eyes. So
yeah. Anyway, so this guy was really interesting because I don't want to combat this guy online. There's no point. I'm glad that he's, following me, and I'm glad that he's willing to engage with other people. It's just unfortunate that young kids are taking this information from other young kids. There was a guy who was, asking me a lot of questions on my posts, and I was trying to answer him as best as possible. First, I thought he was a little bit of a troll, but he was very curious, and you could see he was really desperate about, his hair loss and wanting to have a hair transplant. So he seemed a little dejected and depressed by what I was telling him, how he should proceed. This guy comes out and basically says, don't listen to this guy. He's never had a hair transplant. He's probably talking about, old people who had hair transplants from bad doctors. Whatever you do, don't go to any doctor in the U.S. because they can't move more than 3,000 grafts at a time. So you can never get the density. And they charge way too much money. Get your ass to Turkey, find a good clinic. It changed my life, yada, yada, yada. And this guy's like, oh, my God, thank you for this information. Because basically he was really down on it, and he was scared to have it. Yeah. This guy's like, don't be scared. And essentially don't listen to me. Now, what am I going to do? Spend my time fighting back and forth with this guy? I just want the people who are watching this, who are reading my content and who are watching this broadcast and now listening to my voice to understand that there's nothing in it for me. I have no skin in the game if you get fucked up and you guys decide to have a hair transplant. As a matter of fact, the more guys that get fucked up, the stronger our society and our businesses become.
100%.
And the more money goes into my pocket. So if you guys want to get fucked up, you don't want to listen to what we have to say, it doesn't make a difference. I'll go out and buy another house. It doesn't mean anything. So there's no reason for me or for Joe, which sometimes I think, why the fuck do we do this? Because half the people don't listen. To go out there, put our asses on the line, except for the fact that, hey, listen, this is how I started my career. This is what I do. I want to continue down this vein. And I think that it's invaluable for those who find this content to know that, yeah, hair transplant surgery can be life-changing. It can be an incredible decision and really help to change the trajectory of your life in a positive way. If you are the right candidate who goes to the right clinics and finds the right surgeons, who has realistic expectations, and who does not expect to have a wall of hair after their first procedure for the rest of your life. Now we have some
and while
fun-
everyone's digesting that,
Go ahead.
While everyone's digesting that, do us all a favor, and I mean everyone involved with what we're doing, and click that like button. We're giving out some awesome information today. We got a great episode today. Got a nice bump in viewers moving up. It's nice. Click that like button. Shows that you appreciate it, because we are here for you. We're not making any money from this. I'm sick as hell. I feel like shit. But I fired up the computer. My capture card is working. I gotta give you shit. But we're here for you.
I'm just gonna put you on camera for like I'm calling in, Joe.
We like you're calling in. And yeah, we can really use the support, because I'm gonna be real with you guys. We've been doing this for a long time. Spencer's been doing it a hell of a lot longer than I have, but to sit in front of this camera and to see all these great views, but then just a fraction of those views are converted to likes, it kind of makes us wonder, what are we doing this for? Like we are like, and we get the communications later on, and through different means where people do contact us and say, you're really helping me out with what you've been doing. Thank you so much. I got a question, blah, blah. That's always nice to hear. But it helps when you click that like button. And of course, if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications, because that's when I know that you're getting notified when we're live. So enough about that. This is important, guys. And like if you're just joining us, the title of the show says, or the thumbnail of the show says, is it time to call out bad clinics? And what Spencer and I have been talking about is that it's past time to call out the bad clinics, because there's so many of them. We couldn't possibly begin to cover even a fraction of them. And it's gotten to the point where it's more like calling out the bad information. And if you are a subscriber to my channel, you know that earlier this week I did a live stream reaction video where I was watching a video during a live stream, and I was reacting to the information that was on it, and calling out some of the information that was that I felt was false. And that's what I'm going to be doing more of that. Spencer and I are going to try to incorporate some of that into this broadcast every Friday, because it is important. And it just kind of hit me earlier this week. It's like, this is the way to do it.
Dude, you're so serious.
Go after the information, not the messenger. What's that?
You're being so serious.
I am serious. I'm on fire, man. Like I am. Maybe it's the drugs. I don't know. I've been high all week.
Dude, listen.
It is kind of a revelation for me.
It's all I can say, and we're going to take a call in a second, is just by me posting something on Instagram almost every day now, I've seen the growth of Instagram. And I've also seen the guys who've kind of been captured, some of the guys who may end up being victims, they don't even know it, writing. They're very, they're contrarian, and I understand it. Listen, if I was 32 years old or 30 years old and I decided to fly to Turkey to take a chance to get my hair back because I really needed to do this, and I understand that. I've been desperate. I would say during this time period, if I was 21 or 22 or 25 right now, I would be in Turkey having a hair transplant right away. It would have happened.
I would have already been to Turkey and back 3 times trying to fix the shit that happened.
Yeah.
it'd be early Joetronic, the early years all over again.
So I don't want to blame these kids because back in the alt.baldspot days, everyone was arguing. I mean, just like and same with the message forums, it was always fucking ugly. Now it is ugly on a level I've never seen. And the misinformation is just it's insane. And the fact we had a caller to the UK show of a mother of a son who was convinced, I think that he was going to go to the same clinic, was convinced that because our UK friend didn't have tremendous amount of followers compared to this clinic, that this person couldn't have the insight or the information. And it's such a bizarre world, man.
Yeah.
It's like a celebrity endorsement for a hair loss product. If these hair loss products that these celebrities endorsed really work, do you think people would be getting hair transplant surgery? Do you think that
That's a good point.
Do you think that most men would be dealing with hair loss by the age of 35? Don't you think they would at least, you know what, I don't want to worry about my hair loss. Let me start this thing now as a prophylactic. Do you think this industry, which is estimated to be about $14 billion in 2023, would exist? Do you think scientists would be working on a cure if you can buy some shit online?
Good point.
I mean, come on. Do you think just because Anthony Robbins, who I love, by the way, so I give this motherfucker a pass all the time, but just because he's associated with some sort of a product, do you think that gives that product any real legitimacy? Well, apparently that's why people pay these spokespeople, because it does. Because in general, I hate to say this, just like P.T. Barnum said, there's a sucker born every minute. We are all desperate. And if we see a celebrity face with a bullshit before and after picture, and let me tell you, they are mostly bullshit. We see that as a credible endorsement of something that's going to help us. We want to fix our problem. We want to solve our issue. And we're going to let Tony Robbins tell us this is the product to buy, or whoever. I'm just using his as the latest example. And this kid is fucking perfect. What he said was that the fact that one of the best young hair transplant surgeons in the world today, Leo Sauer, which I probably can't pronounce his name correctly, in Brazil.
You said it right.
Can't be good because he only has 20,000 followers on Instagram, and some of them are fake in his mind.
I wish I had 20,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, but what a fucked up mentality, man. What a fucked up mentality. But I have to tell you, that fucked up mentality has put some fire under my ass, because now I'm just going to grind. I'll hire somebody just to fucking film me. Put shit on Instagram. It'll grow. It may take 6 months. But maybe I'll have, 100,000 followers, whatever it is, if I really push it out. Apparently that's not going to be enough for this kid. But that is what counts in this world.
Yeah.
Let's take a phone call, Joe.
Let's do it.
Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? I'm frozen.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys? It's me from Kazakhstan.
Hey, what's happening, man?
My name is May.
I know May.
Or May,
How are
sorry.
you?
Yeah.
What is happening? I'm glad to see you, and now it's my post-operation evening.
Oh,
Fine.
Mazel tov. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I was laying on the bench during the day, and I want to move. I slept a couple hours, and I want to move. And this party near to my hotel is getting harder and harder. I don't know. Maybe I will go. So let's how to say bullet points. It is a smile hair clinic, only $5,000, 5,000 grafts, Russian-speaking surgeon, visa-free. Oh shit! It doesn't. I thought I would see your face when I see it.
You can't see my
like
face.
that.
I'm frozen.
You can see mine.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
You can see Joe. Joe fell for it.
Joe is able to hide his emotions, but you. So no point. That was joke.
I knew it was a joke right away, man. You've been calling the show forever. You've done your due diligence. So
I was
where
going
are
to say,
you?
it's like, what the hell is this guy talking about? He did what? He went where? That's funny. Good one. You got me.
Yeah, I would do it more, how to say, realistic if I see the Spencer face, because it's when spectacular, how to say, when you have your viewers, it helps you. Okay, it's just Schaffhausen. It's how it is. FUT 1 point. Surprisingly, only 1.5 thousand grafts during the first day. So my donor area wasn't so how to say, generous.
Right.
But it's only 10 centimeters. So the length they took. And another factor that I was late because my flight was late, and perhaps he did this to make first day of operation shorter for his staff. But tomorrow they're gonna take more, and they are not sure, and no one's sure how many grafts will they take from FUT. And they say if we don't have much from FUT, we're gonna have something by FUE. Let's say 5. But I don't like it. I think I would say them that take only singles. If you need singles, use FUE. But if you just want to have more grafts by FUE, don't do this. So if in altogether we will have 3,000 or even.
I'm gonna interrupt you there. You don't want them basically putting holes in your head just to get singles. What you want is you'd rather have them cut the grafts to size, even though it's not pure follicular units, and make less punctate wounds to make more singles. So you never want, if someone says they're just going to go in there and put a hole in your head for a single hair graft, not a good idea.
No, yes, of course. And they all say about elegancy or something like that. Elegancy. They all suggest FUT if you need some so high level of hair loss. I dropped that thought. So I'm gonna say them FUE only if you need more singles only. If you want just more grafts, let's only do FUT, and if altogether it would be even much less than we expected. So we expected 4.5 thousand. Maybe we will end up with 3,000, or even less. Yeah. I'm gonna be fine. And I'm gonna look forward for the second operation, but I will think how it will go. FUE, FUT. So we will see tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, why? Let me ask you this question. Why? You said that the harvest is limited. Is it due to the width of the strip? Or did they say that your scalp is tight, or that you don't have good density in the area where they took the strip out?
The second, not much density. Yeah, not much. Okay. My hairs are thin, and they couldn't extract more than 1.5 thousand from 10 centimeters of the width. Yeah, and if they take 20 centimeters tomorrow, maybe they will take at least 2,000, I hope. And altogether it will be 3.5. I will be pretty glad, but we will have to, I will have to, how to say, have a discussion before the operation. So they would know how to distribute those.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just.
How do you feel about
process.
how do you feel about the experience so far? How do you feel about the way things have worked out?
Well, I don't know how it is worked out. I'm just in the process, and many thoughts, and everything. Maybe I will write something, some story, maybe. But overall, I liked it. Yeah, the place is beautiful and quiet, and they have their clinic in Stetten. It is a village near to Schaffhausen, or part of Schaffhausen. So quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's authentic. It's beautiful. Yeah, something like that.
All right. So if I don't speak, Joe's just going to kind of let this go on and on and on and on. Dude, first of all, I want to let you know that I'm really happy that you made a decision. You're no longer on the fence, whether you were a candidate or not. Obviously, you are a candidate. Otherwise, the doctor you chose wouldn't be performing the surgery, in my opinion. And I'm glad that they're taking a little bit of a conservative approach. In the end, I think you're going to appreciate that approach in the long term a lot more than if you went in, had it all done at once, and hoped to God that those grafts grew.
Yeah. I have one question only. One question. It's not about my operation. It's not a critic. It's just a question, or maybe it's a bit critic. When I was trying to choose a doctor, yeah, I thought about many options. For example, I couldn't choose Dr. Bisher, but that was a pretty. How to say? I wanted to choose her, but expecting her videos, I couldn't see anything, because these guys, they do at least close-up videos, yeah, and
not many clinics do. They're one of the few clinics that do extreme close-ups on the details, which is great. I mean, it's if you're confident in your work, I think all clinics should do that. But they're one of the few ones that do. So it obviously worked in their favor because you chose them for that reason, or for one of the reasons. That's good.
Yeah, for that one of the reason, and the second, when I hear you, I listen to you. It's kind of, I see between lines when you say FUT. You mean 70 to 30. It is my, how to say, impression. But when you say FUE, you're a success. But when you say FUE, it's like 50-50 or less. It is why I read between the lines, listening.
You read wrong, my friend. I don't ever say that. I don't even believe that it's 50-50 with FUE. Are you talking about survival rates?
About everything, about whole success. About nature.
You read those wrong. You misinterpreted those lines, my friend. I'm a big believer in FUE. I love FUE. I've had it myself. I hate to burst your bubble, and it's kind of funny you're saying that, but it's also it's kind of disturbing, because if you think that I've been saying or giving the impression where you have to read between the lines that FUE is only successful 50% of the time or less, you strongly misunderstood everything I've been saying for the past, as long as you've been listening to me. I've never implied that. I've never thought that myself.
Dude, the guy's from Kazakhstan. Give him a fucking break.
I need to make that clear, my friend.
I mean, subconsciously, it's like, reading between lines. Maybe in my culture, even if you're trying to say that FUE is as good, I don't believe you. I hope you understand.
Well, that's fine. You don't have to understand me, but I don't want you to make a decision based on what you perceive to be the underlying message when that's not the underlying message.
No, what he said was, at least I think I heard him clearly, is that he doesn't believe you, Joe. Even if you say that FUE is as good as FUT, he does not believe you.
No, but he said that I'm saying that because I have to. But he's reading between the lines.
He doesn't believe you, Joe. He does not believe you. Listen, May, I'm going to tell you this. You're not completely wrong, and it's not about not believing Joe. I don't think Joe has ever... Listen, every doctor now, because the market has essentially converted over to all FUE, physicians who are would strongly suggest that, they get slightly better outcomes with FUT. And physicians who strongly suggested that, not every patient is a candidate for FUE surgery. A lot of these guys had to evolve their message in order to survive. That's my truth. I hate even saying my truth. That's the truth.
Don't go there.
I have never,
This is true. I think this is true.
It is true. I've been doing this for a long ass time, too long, and I've seen it all. And when we first started to experiment, and I say we because it was brought to my attention initially, and I had to convince doctors to try this procedure. When they first started to experiment with what was then known as the Woods technique, everyone said it was impossible, couldn't be done. Then some guys got better at it. It was a really slow process. But in the end, there is no way that you can move a large number of grafts, the grafts that are needed to really make a tremendous aesthetic impact on a Norwood 5 or 6. There's no way you can move those many grafts without going into what was in the literature known as the safe zone. And it's still in the literature. That has not changed. So everyone who gets large FUE hair transplants has to understand that they're taking a little bit more of a risk as far as the longevity of those surgeries. And that's why medication and success on medication is even more important than it ever has been. Because at the very least, we know that, you want to be on medication with a strip. You want to do your best to save your native hair so that the transplant continued to look as full as it did when you first got it. You don't want to lose or progress any further. And we also knew that in severe cases, even the strongest area, the sweet spot of the donor area, could miniaturize in time. So, there was value to taking medication even with a strip. But now, if you're not on medication and you have FUE hair transplant, either an idiot. I can understand people who can't take the medication, but you have to be warned that you're taking a huge risk. There is a significant chance that this hair transplant will ultimately be a failure in the end. And I mean the end, it could be 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. And you will have to figure out what you're going to do. That's either wear a hairpiece or try to shave your head. If you have 4,000 holes in your head or 5,000 holes in your head, it's going to be difficult to shave your head. So it's medication, having full disclosure and understanding of what you're getting into. And if you combine all that stuff, then you can have a successful long-term FUE hair transplant, but you have to maintain it with chemicals, period.
Yeah.
That sounds fun, with chemicals.
Another good point. May I ask something? Do I have time?
You don't have any time, but I'll give you one more question. We love you, man.
Yeah. But that question, it's about assessing results of clinics, which Joe does. I mean, so it is my only deep personal opinion that if you give some assessment, you should, for example, from eugenics results, I believe it is better to say that what doctor did what. And if you say eugenics did this, or for example, the firm not telling what doctor did this, personally, I don't like it.
I agree with that.
I agree. Look, when I first took on eugenics, it was just Dr. Erica Bonsall and Dr. Setti doing the procedures. They had assistants that were doctors, and they did have a mix of how they did things, but they didn't have the packages that they have today where doctors that have been training under them are taking over doing the entire procedure. I think they were just starting to do that, but excuse me. But when I first took them on, I did the initial. Sorry, I'm just trying to think back on the videos I did. I did one initial introduction video where I talked about them, and I may not have discerned who did which result. But then every surgery or every video since then, I believe, I did one focused just on Erica Bonsall. I did one just focused on Dr. Setti. And I think that's the way I've been moving forward with their videos ever since. As far as the other doctors that work there, I'm actually considering making a video saying I know nothing about these doctors. I've not talked to them. I've not reviewed their work. The only doctors I'm recommending at eugenics are Dr. Pradeep Sethi and Dr. Erica Bonsall, because that's all I've really had any exposure to.
And I'll go even further and say that I don't like that aspect of what they're doing, and I voiced that on previous programs. And I think that if they're going to be using these doctors, they have to have these doctors apply individually to the organization. If there's one or two that make it, great. If there's one that makes it, great. And if there's none, everyone will know about it. And that's it. That's how I feel about it. How are we able to, how is a clinic able to utilize the credentials that we provide without making that separation, without making that distinction on all of their marketing, on their websites, everywhere they post? Anytime they post, using these fucked up message forums, who did the surgery? Is this person a part of Hair Transplant Mentor or whatever? So I take a harsher stance. I mean, your stance is good, Joe, but I'm a little harsher about it. As far as like once I found out about it, I was just like, what the fuck?
The same is with.
Did that answer your question? That answer your question?
Yeah. But
okay.
Yeah, you answered my question, and it is maybe important that you have opinion of your viewer.
It is very important, and we appreciate your input. We appreciate you calling the show, and I want to wish you the best of luck, man. I really, again, I'm going to say appreciate 3 times in one paragraph, in one thought. That you've taken the time to call day of your surgery and to let us know how you're doing, and also to let the people who are concerned about where may have gone or what he's done, giving them a little insight. You took a lot of time to make your decision, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be happy in the end. So listen, dude, we're going to take another call. Good luck. Maybe we'll talk to you next week.
Take care.
Talk to you next time.
Okay, brother. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Ash. I'm from Wales. Or Wales.
From where? What's your name?
Ash from Wales.
Hey, how are you, man? You're. I don't know if you're on a speakerphone or what, but you're coming in a little weird.
No, do you know what it is? I chose Skype because once I saw the calling charges for international calls with Virgin, I couldn't sleep at night knowing that I was going to pay them that sort of amount of money.
Dude, we have a local line for you, a UK number. Do you want to call on that?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, can I do it now?
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on the screen. Hold on for a second.
Okay.
Why didn't that work? Hold on. It should be on the screen right now. But take a second.
Gotcha. Right, I'm dialing in.
Awesome. Let's see if this works. It's really good, man. Like, you guys know, you can't see me. I could be shirtless at this point.
Probably are.
You know, my fear is that the capture card all of a sudden will start working.
Exactly.
Let's see if this is the same guy. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, it's Ash again. I'm in the room now, loud and clear, hopefully.
Hey, man. You know what? It doesn't sound much different, but whatever.
It really doesn't. That's okay. We'll take it.
Yeah. So what's happening?
I just thought I'd ring in. I mean, I'm an avid watcher, and I just want to say, Joe, condolences. I know you had a family loss in your pet over Christmas. That's grim. And Spencer, big old man, you every time I tune into the show every Friday night and pour myself a whiskey, you crack a few funnies, and I tend to forget that hair loss was a problem. So, big respect.
I really appreciate that, man. You know, I try to tell Joe that we have to make this entertaining, and he doesn't want to do it.
It's all serious business, man.
You certainly add value, guys, so I appreciate it.
So what's happening?
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you.
I just thought I'd just ring in and just give like a background story of where I'm at with hair loss and my kind of journey, really, and where it's all going. If that's all right with you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it was my late teens I started to lose my hair. And it kind of went rapidly. And I was in uni at the time. And basically, but my first the true love, right, the great white buffalo, she left me. And then that coincided with my hair loss progressively worsening. Now, I don't want to hold her accountable for the hair loss, like she was some sort of wicked sorcerer who could take my hair from me, but I wouldn't put it past her. So,
you know what? You're making me laugh, and I got to tell you, I had a similar instance. And I was a kid and had a bad breakup, and I felt like my hair loss really accelerated. And I'm like, this fucking bitch cursed me.
I know the vibes, I know the feeling.
Yeah. To this day, I'm very passive aggressive with her. I still know her. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyhow, I kind of moved past that, and I was working behind a bar at the time. So I was facing people, etc., behind the bar, and I made the call one evening. I thought, right, this is it, isn't it? I was sat in front of the mirror, and I thought, I'm going to shave my head. Let's do it. So I shaved it, and of course, I was an emotional mess. I was crying like a baby. But then I went into work that eve, and I got a few negative comments, which hit me. It did hurt, but I then thought, I've got to do something about this, This is war. So my hair wants to leave me. My ex wants to leave me. I've got to figure this shit out.
How old were you again at the time?
21, 22.
That is a fucked up age to be dealing with this shit. That was the same age as me. And I look what I did. I've been behind this mic for 25 years, somehow trying to, I don't know, self-soothe, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's at that time, you're on the voyage of discovery at that age, and you've got your identity. You feel like it's robbed from you. So I found myself doing what you do, right? You crawl these forums, and that was what was about at that moment in time. They were the hot thing to look at. And I couldn't see the wood for the trees, if I was being honest. There was a lot of pictures of great, hair transplants and all this. And I thought, could it be that easy, really? I just go to one of these clinics and just get a new head of hair. So I found myself having a consultation in took myself up to Manchester, and I was in a clinic there. I can't remember the name.
Uh-oh.
But I was having this consultation.
Did it start with an F?
I heard the name. I heard you say Manchester, and I knew immediately that it was going to be a bad news.
Yeah, I think it was the F. I remember. Yeah, we can't disclose that on air, can we? We can't name drop, no.
You can do whatever you want, but there's no point. What
Okay.
Unless you got really fucked up by them, then you can say whatever you want.
Oh, no, I didn't go down that road, fortunately. But I got the sales pitch, and I remember sat there. I took my buddy along with me, and something didn't add up. So I went away, and I was thinking, it can't be that easy. I can't just get this fixed, right? But then he did, in all fairness to him, mention alternate methods. And he said, look, there is Propecia, there is finasteride. So I went away with this finasteride in my mind, and I'm like, right, okay, let's go to my GP, let's talk to him. So he puts me on this Propecia, and I've been on it for 15 years ever since. So, no, a bit longer actually, so I'm 40 now. And
nice.
I'll be honest with you, I've managed to hold on to the hair I had. And
dude, I've been on it for 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea what it's doing to me. I got other fucking issues, and maybe it's the Propecia that caused it. But I kept a lot of hair, not all of it, but a decent amount.
Well, that's how you weigh it in, don't you? You either fight the long fight, or you seem to just get these hair transplants that I'm seeing more and more now. And I'm just not convinced by them. And I'll tell you why, because anyhow, like I said, during my 30s, I decided to combat it with Minoxidil as well, and that's brought back a lot of the finer hairs in my hairline, which makes it look even fuller when I use a bit of topic. And it looks like I've got a full head of hair, thankfully, I feel lucky. But I did find myself during lockdown, I discovered Joe's content, and I've got to be thankful and grateful that Joe's about, because where have you been, Joe, for about 10 years? Is this YouTube algorithm just putting you in the darkness? Because I just don't know where you came from, but you came out of the blue, and all the content was great, and it helped me out. And you managed to pinpoint a clinic in the UK, and I thought, right, COVID hit. It was a great opportunity, a great window to go and see someone and maybe get this transplant done, because I'd waited.
Wait a minute, over COVID. Okay, so during lockdown, you were the guy that watched my video. Awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of the algorithm, you were the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Little YouTube humor there.
You mentioned. I thought, listen, I'll treat myself. It's 40. Let's see if what the options are now. So I went to the Maitland clinic, and that featured on one of your videos, Joe. And I turned up, I rolled up, and they said, "Who sent you?" I went, "Joe." And they rolled out the red fucking carpet straight away and said, "We better look after him." They didn't really. They were, but they were pros though, right? They treated me well, looked after me, give me good advice, and basically said they didn't think I was the right candidate at this moment because the hair that I wanted transplanted was into pre-existing hair. So I'd have to discontinue the Minoxidil and all those sort of things. And I thought, nah, you know what? I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep holding on as long as I can. And that brings us to the present day where you look at the market as a whole. And I'm a marketer, and I can see how, as Spencer says, how fucked up it is, because I see my nephew, my friends that are losing their hair now in their 30s, they're looking at YouTube, and it's deceptive. They believe that you can get this hair, and it will just fix you. And it's, how many YouTubers do you see within 3-4 months with unreal growth? And you're going, right, that's a hairpiece. Must be.
It may not be. It may not be a hair. I mean, if it's 3 or 4 months, it could be something, or it could be lighting. It's probably it may be a hairpiece. But you see a lot of guys, and some of the more well-known influencers who have had not great experiences, and they've made the best of it. But they still decided to develop a following and to turn this into a business because they went through this experience. And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, especially if they're starting to provide really good information and they're telling people to learn from their mistakes and shit like that. But there's a lot of guys out there who've made mistakes, who aren't owning up to the mistakes that they've made, and who are selling all types of products and services and all kinds of stuff. Really
I don't
making
know of any of them that they're owning up to their mistakes.
I'm trying to be nice, Joe.
I know.
I'm trying to be a little diplomatic here.
I'm not.
I know, but I wish you would have seen my reaction. I just put my head down and shook my head.
By the way, people watching and they see Spencer looking like he's frozen in carbonite. His computer, the capture card for video has frozen. So he's going to be like that for the whole show. Yeah. The alternative is to reboot his machine, which means shutting down the live stream and starting all over again. And we don't want to do that. So there you go.
Back to me.
And by the way, hit the like button, people. We need more likes. Please do that. Trigger the algorithm so that we can get some more exposure. That's what our goal is for this year, 2023. More exposure for the show. So please hit that like button.
But I think I think the example of just some of the stuff that I read, and I didn't read it all from this kid. And again, I don't get angry with these kids. I understand. I was in that position. I still am to a degree. Sometimes I look at this stuff. I'm like, but I know. I mean, like I even know the truth, and I look at this stuff, and I get like,
it's
maybe
yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong about something, or maybe something new that is not being written about in the literature, or that I haven't read about in our circles is happening. But that's not true, man. Mm-hmm. That's just
It never is.
Yeah, just being desperate as a hair loss sufferer. I still haven't had a hair transplant because I understand how the game works, and I also know how much hair I could lose if I decided to have a hair transplant. And I want to save every donor, hair, whatever reserve I have for when I truly need it, if I ever really need it. So if I'm 65 years old and I'm like, shit, my hairline has receded even more, or the mid-anterior scalp is gone, I need to reframe my face, I'm going to have hair to do that so that I can live the rest of my life with a better framed face. And that's it. You got to save it for as long as you can before you make this move. And kids today are just doing the opposite.
I got to chime in and just say I was just laughing. For those people who are wondering why I was just laughing, it's because I was just reminded of a comment I got on one of my older videos from I think it was my last surgery from 4 years ago. And some guy commented that I should be saving my donor hair for future need. And I was like, what future need? Like, he said you've had 10 hair transplants, you should save your donor hair. It's like, you do realize it's been over the past 20 years, 30 years that I've had 10 hair transplants. It's not like I've done it all at once. So it just kind of struck me as funny. Sorry.
It's fucking hilarious, Joe.
Thought I'd share that because anyway.
So
continue.
Anyway, man, listen.
We should let the caller speak.
So you're in marketing, and I'm going to let... Caller, did you hear what he just said? Did you just hear this
Hello?
guy?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Fucking Joe, man. It never ends. So your point as a marketer and seeing what's happening in the industry, and also being able to step back as a hair loss sufferer yourself who was considering hair transplants at one point, and it's still it's still available to you, but you understand the entire scope and the possible pitfalls, and these kids just don't. And I have a kid who's trying to argue with me on my own Instagram, basically saying like, what the fuck do I know? And I don't want to go in there and tell him everything that I fucking know. I want him to be happy. I don't want him to like worry about the decision that he made, which was a fucked up decision. But I don't want him to have to worry about it. So I'm not even telling him to worry about it. I'm like, look, you probably lucked out. I wish you the best. But don't come on here and provide vulnerable kids with misinformation just based on your own personal experience.
Yeah, I think that's totally, that's sound advice. And when you put yourself in your 20-year-old shoes again, and you're suffering, and you want the quick fix, you want the answer, don't you? And it's like, they don't want to hear the pitfalls to it all. They just want, you're going to get your hair back, son, don't worry, the job's a good one. But you and I both know now, when you get older and you do all your research, and it's like, there is the long fight. You can retain your hair. Not for everyone. There might not be that many successful stories, and some people do get success with therapies if they work for them, etc. But there are options, other options, and I think that if anyone can take value for what I'm saying from saying tonight that you're in it for the long fight, then great, because I could have been that guy and I could have had a fucked up surgery, and I chose not to. And I think moving forward now, I'm more inclined to look at hair systems. Some of these hair systems that you can just stick on the front for the hairline, they look fantastic.
How old are you? You said you're 40 now?
I'm 40 now, yeah.
Are you married?
No, single man.
Okay. Here's the thing about, hair systems in today. There's still some degree of stigma, but I'm noticing that because we're seeing everything online, I think this is the good thing about what's happening on social media. You notice that there are women out there who are basically telling, especially these influencers who are using hair systems, like, good for you. Like, it's much more acceptable now. Maybe not amongst men themselves, but it seems to be more acceptable amongst women accepting men who are choosing to do this. So, when I chose to do it in the back for when I gave it a shot, it still wasn't acceptable. I told people. I talked about it on the air. I'm like, I cut out this yarmulke piece and I glued that shit on and it looked fucking good. But I still had too much hair to deal with it. And it was a pain in the ass, so I'd rather paint. But having that option in your back pocket instead of saying I have to get surgery because it's the only natural thing to do. I don't want something glued onto my head, or I don't want to be laughed at because I'm wearing a fucking toupee. These look 100% natural if they are worn correctly. And if you know how to nuance them and realize that, you don't have to go to a club to get this shit done. And you don't have to shave your entire head to, you can get a partial just to help to integrate into your own hair. I'd say that most normal women would be like, hey, great. This guy. She won't even understand it. She'll just be like, oh, he's doing something to help himself. And if it looks good, she won't give a shit.
Put it this way. It's all right for women to do it. And I had an ex of mine that before we go to bed at night, she'd take all of her hair out, the nails, and I go, what have you fucking done with her? Where's she gone?
No, dude, it's crazy. In the UK, it's insane. What I'm seeing. Here in LA, it's insane too, but there's not a woman in Los Angeles, at least that I'm aware of, that is not wearing hair. And during the pandemic, especially where I live, you saw how desperate these chicks were. They were a fucking hot mess because they couldn't get their hair done. Their extensions were hanging on fucking threads. You could see them from the back of their head. It was hilarious to me because they had no way to tighten them up. They had no way to re-glue them. They couldn't even get hair because the supply chain was fucked up. They were in a panic. I had people, the wives of friends of mine, contact me in a fucking panic because of their hair extensions. So I don't know any woman above the age of 25 currently, at least in the people that I know who aren't wearing some degree of hair. That's just the way that it is. They're destroying their hair too. They don't even realize it, but they're wearing hair. Everybody on television, every news person, except for maybe Rachel Maddow. I don't consider her a news person. But everyone out there is wearing hair.
Yeah, get to that point too where I think you become more rounded the older you get, and you're more accepting of things to a degree. And I don't know, there's bigger things in life, right? To a degree, you go through it, and when you're a kid, it destroys you, that your hair's coming out and stuff. But the older you get, you kind of go, okay, I get it. You want to leave me. Right. It is a case of you holding on to everything as you get older, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best to stall that, and we'll go from there.
Well, I think your story is really important, especially for the younger guys. You made the right choices at the right time. Something made you hold back, kind of like with me. Something didn't sit right with you. And you chose to get on medication. It worked. And 20 years later, you still have your hair. So
it worked out.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks. Listen, I'll probably call in again. You'll hear from him. I'm a big fan of you both. So Yeah, thanks for your time.
We'll be glad to hear from you.
I think you like me more than Joe, though. It's okay. I won't
A
push
little
it.
bit. Only a little bit.
All right, brother. Good luck. Thank you so much for calling in.
I can take that.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Take care.
You got broad shoulders, Joe. Broad shoulders. Thanks, guys.
888. Thanks a lot, man. Take care. 888-659-3727 is a toll-free number. I do like just doing a radio show again, even though it's just like a frozen picture of me. There's something very freeing about
I bet.
just being able to just be behind the mic. I used to get fucking loaded in the studio at Westwood One. And you probably heard it, but no one was seeing me pour the drinks.
Yeah, you might hear it clinking against the glass every once in a while, but that'd be about it.
Yeah. And when the hookers would be in the studio, I mean, no one saw that. It was great, man. TJ, our old fan, remembers that. The very last broadcast that I did on the radio, this guy was bugging the shit out of me. Lived in Los Angeles, just, big fan, wanted to come to the studio. I'm like, this motherfucker wants to come into the studio? That's fucking weird, man. But he kept calling and writing and writing, and he became a friend of the show. And I said, all right, my very last broadcast at Westwood One, we're going to let you sit in. And he may have gotten me a bottle, I don't know, but we cracked open a bottle of Jameson, and we got fucked up on the air. At least I did. And that's how I met TJ. He said he was going to call in this week. I don't know if he's listening. But, guys, we have open lines.
He's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's got married and everything. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Just like last week, if we don't get calls, I hang up. I leave. I turn this off. Part of my rig's not working right now. My capture card is fucking frozen, and I'm still here. And right now we have 0 phone calls. And we just had a completely lit board. And it wasn't as though this caller was boring. He was great. All right, now the lights.
He was great.
Yeah. Let's take.
And while we're waiting on that, please don't forget to hit the like button. We could use your support for anyone that's just now joining us. You see Spencer stuck in carbonite next to me. It's because his capture card has failed. It's not working. But you know what? I'm still here. He's still here. You just hear him. So click the like button to show the appreciation of us pushing through. This is for you, people. This is for you.
888-659-3727.
It helps to be high.
Yeah, everything helps when you're high. Everything's better when you're high. Not everything. Not thinking about, possible disease processes and shit like that. That's not good.
That's not good. No.
But, television, sex, stuff like that. That's good. Let's see who this is. Not that I would know. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, caller.
Rick, Redondo Beach.
What's your name?
Rick from Redondo Beach.
Rick, what's happening, man? How are you?
Rick.
Hey, Spencer, I can't tell if you got anything going in your glass. You're frozen.
I am. And I got some shit going in my glass. I also have my puff basketball and all kinds of stuff happening here. So what's up, man?
Hey, I got just wanted to call in. I'm 9 months post-op, and I had a great result, so I wanted to tell you guys about that.
Yeah.
Who'd you go to?
Yeah. Can I say his name, of course? Dr. McAndrews.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I found out about your show 6 months after I went to him, so I guess I picked the right guy. But, man, I had a fantastic result. And it's still growing, so I've got like 3, 4, 5, 6 months to go.
Look, I'll tell you, he's a good doctor. For some reason, he turned out to be a real ass. I don't know what happened to him on a personal level, but I got to tell you, I'd still recommend him.
Yeah, he's not cheap.
No, he's actually one of the most expensive doctors in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Which means in the world.
If you want to hear my story real quick, I was I'm in my late 50s, and I was more of I kind of had the Don Johnson hair going my whole life, and then in my late 50s, I started to research this. I'm getting to be more of an advanced 2, maybe getting into maybe an advanced 2. And so I went to him for a consult, referred to my dermatologist. And
by the way, I'm just going to stop you for a second. You know how many young guys are basically thinking, go fuck yourself at this point? You are so lucky, man. Good for you.
Late 50s, and I'm an advanced Norwood too.
I'm 59 and I'm an advanced Norwood too. But good for you, dude. Thank God.
And
You
I
know
just learned
what?
all this terminology in the last year, so it's fantastic. But so anyway, I had a 2083 FUT, and I'm kind of back to that, Robert Mitchum hairline. Not really an adolescent hairline, but how it always was until my late 50s. And
I like
I'm really
these cultural
happy about
references. Robert Mitchum.
Yeah.
Amy
Don
Myers.
Johnson.
Yeah.
So
very good.
I still I'm 9 months on the 18th, but I'm still thinking. I feel like still a forest going on. I still think there's a lot more coming in, so it's fantastic.
Well, that's incredible. So
Yeah.
did you say how many grafts you had done?
2083.
Okay. Now, again, that's relatively conservative, but the thing is, that's appropriate for someone who had, the amount of hair that you have, and the fact that you are, not even a Norwood 3 at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm back to maybe barely a 2, and I still got some time to go. But my dermatologist put me on Propecia about 4.5 years ago, and then Dr. McAndrews suggested oral Minoxidil about 6 months ago. And so I just feel so thick and unbelievable, almost like teenage hair again.
Now, how are you doing on oral Minoxidil as far as any adverse side effects? Do you notice any facial swelling or anything?
No, zero.
That's
zero.
great.
I'm one of those kind of guys. I haven't been. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What dosage are you on? 2.5 milligrams?
Yes.
Okay. Now, it's interesting because that is now the new go-to. In 2020, we launched the first global hair loss summit, and thousands of physicians from all over the world, this was during the pandemic, obviously, came to watch this virtual summit. And what's his name? Sergio Banez? Yeah. He did a talk on his use of oral minoxidil and showed some really impressive results. That shit just took off. And ever since that conference, everyone now is prescribing oral minoxidil for men, for women, and the results are pretty substantial. Now, this is not obviously it's not a new drug, but this was a therapy that was used by a very small handful of docs back in the day. I'm talking about 30 years ago, even before Rogaine was approved. And I remember seeing a physician wanting me to put on oral minoxidil, but they weren't sure of the dosages. A lot of people were having some significant side effects. So they've titrated it over the years, and they started to do it in Spain and other places, and now everyone's prescribing it. So these doctors really have a good tool in their arsenal now. So when guys are on a combination of finasteride and oral minoxidil, if they do well on the drugs without side effects, some of the results are just outstanding, and you seem to be one of those guys.
Yeah. Just I'm really thrilled. I mean, I didn't even know much about this 1 year ago. Started to research it and just jumped right in. And I was, only one consult, and that was the guy because I knew he was the guy. Because I mean, you look at his credentials, it's unbelievable.
Well, listen. This guy, he does the work himself. I would say that he is normally very conservative, and he's exceptionally expensive. But I've never seen an unnatural result from Paul McAndrews. Sometimes people may complain that they don't have enough density because he's not doing a lot of grafts, and they have to go in for more. But I've never seen in the last 20 years an unnatural result from this guy.
I like hearing that. I don't even know if I need to go back. I mean, I'm thinking like hair greed, but probably not.
Don't do it, man.
It doesn't sound like you even need to.
I'm assuming you had a strip, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I wouldn't even go near FUE, but I mean, just on the little research I did. But I would do, yeah.
Well, I mean, being your age, being the age, a man of your advanced years. I'm just kidding. We're the same age, but being a guy who's a little bit older, and you probably wear your hair a little bit long, as you suggested.
I do.
You're going to get the most bang for your buck, and also not just for the money, Buck, but also you're going to be able to get the most DHT-resistant hair from that sweet spot doing at least one strip. So at your point in life, a strip is a very reasonable option. And I posted about this on Instagram this week. I think that anyone who's not, at the very least, referring people out who are the right candidates or better candidates for strip are doing their patients a disservice. And I think that every clinic should at least offer both options. But not every clinic is anymore. But I'm glad you found the right doctor for you, man.
Hey, let me ask you guys this. You know, the thing with FUE is you have to have your face down like you're getting a massage for the first part of the procedure, you know, for 2 or 3 hours, correct? And then they flip you around. I mean, so it's like a longer procedure.
Well, it is longer, but there are doctors. There are some doctors who actually will have you sitting in a prone or an upright position, and they're able to extract the grafts that way. But yeah, I mean, it's a more labor-intensive procedure. You know, it's not like, you know, what Dr. McAndrews did was he, you know, meticulously cuts out your strip, sutures your scalp back together, hands that strip off to his assistants, who then meticulously dissect those grafts under stereo microscope. And I know that he is placing grafts himself, which is unusual. But, you know, I'm not saying it's an easier procedure, but it is it's a lot less labor intensive.
Yeah, that's why he's got the Porsche prices, huh?
Well, I mean, that's not why he has the Porsche. He has the Porsche prices because it's what the market will bear. He was able to create a position for himself where he has enough patients who are willing to pay that. As long as he has one or two patients, you know, one patient a day, or maybe even 3 or 4 patients a week, he's able to sustain, you know, whatever lifestyle he has. And this is the market, man. Some people are able to pay it and willing to pay it, and some people, you know, are unwilling to pay it. And he finds the people who are willing to pay it.
I hear you guys. Hey, could I ask you guys a question about a famous actor from the past, if he had a hairpiece or not?
Before you do, Spencer, I keep seeing that I'm getting a spinning circle on our live feed. Hey, everyone in the chat room, are we freezing for you?
No, you look like you're there, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still here.
Yeah. You're there,
still
dude.
here. It's strange because on my control panel it's showing. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Dante says that we're fine. Yeah.
All right. So,
okay,
what's the question?
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask you, Jack Lord.
Jack Lord, Hawaii 5-0.
He had perfect hair. Was that his hair or not?
You know, I don't like to talk about the dead, my man.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was always wondering because he had one of the best hairs, and I mean, he had the best hair. He had the best hairstyle in Hollywood, probably next to Ronald Reagan, but or Robert Mitchum.
He definitely had a good hairstyle. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I mean,
I understand.
You know, somebody's going to listen to this program. All of a sudden, it's going to be out there all over the internet, whatever we decide to say, and then we're pissing on this poor guy's grave.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
I got the answer.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right. Well,
guys.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for
congratulations.
calling. And do me a favor. Do not say hi to Paul McAndrews for me. I'm just kidding. He did.
I will not. Hey, great.
No, you can't. He did something really fucked up. That's all I'm going to tell you. It has nothing to do with ego. And it actually threw me for such a loop. It had nothing to do with the surgery skills. This is
well, at least you could.
Emotionally, it really showed a tremendous lack of integrity on another front. But the guy's a good surgeon. What am I going to do? Lie and say he's not? He's good.
Yeah, at least
you tell him I said hello
about it. You know.
Listen, I got to laugh about it.
And Joe, I follow you too, man. I caught your last one too on that analysis on Matt Dominance. That was outstanding.
Thank you. More to come.
All right, brother. Good luck.
All right. Take care, man. Great show.
Take care. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling.
I love hearing these old references, man. It's great to know there's other people alive my age who still want their hair. Guys, the phone number.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think I hear sawing in the background from the audience.
I'm working on my shit here while I'm trying to fix stuff. Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. As you can hear, Joe is not well. He's sick, and he's still doing the show. So, when we had Jack Lord on just now, all our lines were lit. And you guys, it's like kids today, people today do not have the patience. Years ago...
I think it's when you start talking about Jack Lord, the kids don't know who the hell he was.
But they don't have the patience. Like they got, it used to be like, oh, I got on the radio. I'm in. Eventually, someone's going to take my call. And they held on sometimes for an hour. Now I guess people are just distracted by their phones or some shit. They call in, they can't get through right away. They wait 3 minutes and they go.
What? Oh.
Dude.
Sorry, that's a joke.
That's not even an act, my man. That's your natural habitat.
Just keeping the show rolling.
All right, buddies.
Oh, goodness.
Buddies. All right, guys.
Actually, getting a fever.
Really? All right,
Yeah,
we're gonna have to let Joe go. You're not calling. We have 20 minutes left on the program.
Well, look, if we can get 6 more likes in the next 2 minutes, where we get 60 likes, then we'll stay on the air. I will suffer through with this oncoming fever, and we'll finish up the show. So I don't see any likes. All we need are 6 more likes, and then I will stay on. The show will stay on till the end. There's 2 more. Okay. Only 4 more likes. That's all we need, people.
Now, what kind of a world is this when we have a 54-year-old man begging for likes on YouTube?
I'm not fucking 54 yet.
How old are
Don't
you?
push it.
53.
So 2 more. We got 58, 59. Got 1 more. And...
Oh, man, they're going to make
hit
us
the like
hang
button.
up.
There it is, 60 likes. Thank you so much. Okay, we're on.
Congratulations,
All right.
Joseph. You just
There we
groveled
go.
for 60 likes.
It worked.
Listen, I know.
That's what I'm reduced to, people. A sick man groveling.
This is the sad
I feel
part
like Sally Struthers again.
of what's going on. The people that seem to be getting a lot of attention in the YouTube space or wherever are sadly people who aren't necessarily in a position to really help people. I'm going to give you an example.
Yeah.
I even invited this guy to speak and to do an interview at Global Hair Loss Summit this year because I thought it was valuable. And guys, we'll take your call in a second. I'll make this short. But this hair transplant surgeon / facial plastic and reconstructive surgeon / ENT really built a tremendous YouTube following in a very short period of time. And I happen to like the guy, and he's dealt with a lot of his own issues. But he did a reaction video the other day about a guy who decided to shave his head on Bald Cafe, our friend Harry James, by the way, who is going to be working with us in some capacity through the American Hair Loss Association. This guy has a hair transplant. Within a year, he starts to lose all of his hair, and he decides, you know what, I'm just going to shave my head. He goes, I think he went to Turkey to have a hair transplant. The first year, his results were pretty significant. The grafts grew. Okay, then all of a sudden, something happened. So he decided to just shave it. What he didn't realize, this kid, was that when he shaved it, the entire back of his head was going to look like he was hit with buckshot. He had no idea that this was a reality. He wasn't told this. So his girlfriend noticed it, and they were a little shocked. So this guy, Gary, we'll call him, you guys all know who I'm talking about, is doing a reaction video as to why this may have happened and what can be done and stuff like that. And one issue was that, the patient was told to start Propecia maybe too late, which is true. The guy should have probably started Propecia a little bit earlier. But what wasn't told to this patient, or during the reaction, I'm sure this patient did look at this reaction video, was that it's likely that the reason this guy's hair loss was accelerated was because of finasteride, and that there's a good chance that if he tries to grow his hair out again and continues on the medication, that that lost hair from the hair going in from a anagen to a catagen to a telogen very quickly in a synchronized fashion because of the drug will eventually grow in, and if he continues on the medication, he may be able to reap the rewards of the hair transplant if he wants to continue to have his hair. Instead, this doctor basically, in a very nice way, gives his opinion, and then he says that essentially this guy could have just had SMP to get the look that he wants right now, but he could always get SMP into the scarred areas to essentially fix those areas. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this even a fucking possibility that a physician is advising or commenting in this manner? And I know the possibility. It's not that this guy means any harm. It's just about time on tissue and about long-term experience and really knowing why things might transpire. If you're practicing for 20 years or have been around practice of this medicine for 20 years, you know the real possibilities of what may have happened. You're not just going off of what you may have read in textbooks or have heard through, past mentors and shit like that. The reason I'm bringing this up is I think it's extremely important for people to, I don't know why I'm bringing it up, but for people to fully understand where they're getting their information, and that just because someone has a lot of followers, and even if someone's just a physician who has a lot of followers, it doesn't mean they've had a tremendous amount of experience, and they can really make certain assessments that maybe someone with more experience or even a layman would have been able to make and to really help this guy out. I don't know how I got on this tangent, Joe. But
I don't know either, but it's a good one.
But, and this is no offense to this doctor, I like him. I had him speak. I offered him a faculty position at Global Hair Loss Summit. I would have no problem working with him in the future in another capacity. But I believe it's important for everyone to know that it's called the practice of medicine for a reason. Everyone practices slightly differently, and every physician has their own breadth of knowledge and experience. And the less experience a physician has, no matter how visible they are, they're not going to fully, see all these things that, someone who's been in the business for 20 years may have seen walk through their door before.
Just think about it. It's not called the perfection of medicine.
That's right. Well said. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Adam from Wisconsin.
Adam from Wisconsin. Adam. What's happening?
Not bad. I'm enjoying the show.
Thank you, man.
Besides Joe, I know he's feeling like crap right now.
Yep, feeling like crap, and Spencer's frozen in time. So aside from that, we're both great.
Yeah. And it's the best show we've had in a long time. So what's up?
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to touch up on the last caller he was talking about his oral minoxidil use. And it was interesting that he didn't get any side effects because, well, I would think, as a younger guy, younger than him, that I wouldn't get any heart issues or anything like that. And he was just fine. Well, my first dose of oral minoxidil, I took 1.25 milligrams, and I took it as soon as I walked out of the pharmacy. Like, I cut it up and I took it in my car. And I remember driving home. This was like 2 months ago. I remember driving home and I could feel my heart pumping out of my chest. It was really scary. And I'm I talked to the physician that prescribed it to me. I told him, hey, look, I'm going to cut it up and I'm just going to play with my dose at first, and he was cool with that. And yeah, the 1.25 really messed me, I don't want to say really messed me up, but it started to scare me. So I ended up lowering my dose to, half of that. So I was quartering the 2.5 milligrams. And, you know, I was doing fine, but, you know, it wasn't getting any worse, the heart issue, but I was noticing a little bit of trouble, kind of like breathing a little bit almost. Just an uncomfortable heartbeat throughout the first few weeks, yeah. And it wasn't going away. And, you know, I really panicked. And then I went to the ER. I was fine. It turns out I was fine. They did a whole bunch of tests. I couldn't really tell you what the name of the test. They hooked me up with these fucking wires with sticky pads at the end. And, you know, obviously did like a monitor. And they said they couldn't find anything, but they just told me, like, you know, hey, stay away from the oral and stick to your topical, you know, which I've been doing for about a year and a half now. I'm using the topical also with the tretinoin.
Did they notice that your blood pressure was a bit high?
No, they said it was in range, you know. It was in range, but I think that was just mostly because I was still getting that weird, irregular feeling in my chest, but I didn't take a dose, you know, I didn't even take a dose till like, I think I want to say like 12 hours was my last dose before I went to the ER. So I guess it kind of...
Okay, well, that could have worn off, but I'm also wondering if you know what your baseline is supposed to be. Like, have you ever been considered to have your blood pressure on the lower end of the normal spectrum, or are you even aware of that?
You know, not that I've ever been told. Every time I've gone to the doctors, that's one of the first things they do is check my heart, and, you know, it's always been fine, you know, so it was pretty interesting. It was an interesting thing. And then, you know, I kept taking the quarter milligram of the 2.5, and then I just decided to jump the gun. I guess I kind of panicked, you know how it is. You just kind of panic. You just have like those nights where you're just like, oh, what the hell? Why does my hair look like that? And then you just kind of like, you know, up your dose again. Well, I started taking the 1.25. It's been a month. I take it once in the morning. I don't take anything at night. I still put my topical on because I guess I'm kind of too scared to get rid of that. And it doesn't bother me putting on topical, really. But I've been fine for the last month, like pretty damn good, you know. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know what happened. I think maybe the best option for people who want to start is to start really, really low and then kind of build yourself up. But
I think that's a great idea. I mean, you know, we're not doctors, but it's very possible that just taking what you took as your initial dosage was too much, and your body just kind of reacted as like, whoa, what's going on? And because it took so long for you to actually get checked out, when they ran their EKG and the blood pressure and everything had kind of settled back down to normal. But then for the time that you're taking a quarter tablet, that weaned you onto the medication, and that's how I recommend people take finasteride if they've had side effects or if they're really worried about side effects. They start off with a low dosage and an infrequent intake schedule, and then build themselves up, kind of, you know, titrate into a more effective regular dosage. And it's perfectly acceptable to think that that's what was your benefit, why you can now take that half tablet and not feeling those same side effects. So yeah, I think that's great advice. And I think for anyone that's just considering if they are worried about side effects with any medication, again, I'm not a doctor, but yeah, try a titration into it and see how that works out. I'm glad it worked. I'm glad you found what worked for you.
Well, let me ask you a question. Before you got on the drug, were you exposed to the possibility of these side effects? Were you thinking about them at all?
I I was aware of them. I was aware of them, yeah. Just like how I was aware of finasteride side effects before I started taking that.
Now, so when you first popped that pill, you were excited, and you didn't think, you weren't like, oh, and let's see how this feels? Like that wasn't on your mind, it just happened.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. Yeah. Like 5 minutes later, I just took it. I took it like an aspirin.
Yeah.
And I just forgot, and I just started driving, and I was pretty close to my apartment. I'm just like, whoa, what's that?
Yeah. No, it happens,
I don't
man.
think it was. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, like an exciting feeling,
Well, sometimes
you didn't happen to pop a Viagra before then, did you?
So wait a second.
Question.
Are we not allowed to take Viagra with Minoxidil?
Well, it opens up your blood vessels, so they both do
that.
There's a funny.
So, how long were you on oral Minoxidil, or how long have you been on it?
In the I took a little bit of time off in the last 3 months. I guess let's just say 2 months now.
Wait a minute. You took. Hold on. Back up. You took 3 months off?
No, I'm sorry. It's in the last. So I started 3 months ago. I took that 1.25 like 3 months ago, and then I stopped for a few weeks, and then the last 2 months. 2 months ago, I'm sorry. 2 months ago, I went to 0.625 for a month straight. Just this December 1st up until now, I went up to 1.25, and I haven't noticed any side effects.
Okay. All right. So you've not had enough time to see if there's been a aesthetic improvement with your hair.
Yeah, no, nothing. I guess the topical kind of maybe, I don't know if it's topical or the Dutasteride that I'm on now, or that I've been on for the last 2 years, has just kind of like halted. It's really hard to say. I guess maybe I kitchen sinked it or something. Maybe, I don't know, but
a lot of people do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Okay. And I've tried other stuff too, and I've dropped all of that. So now that's the two or three medications that I take: is topical and oral Minoxidil and Dutasteride.
Okay.
But I guess I just wanted to ask a question. It's so I'm not noticing any physical side effects. Is there a way to just kind of like monitor, besides like a heart rate monitor, just to like monitor any future like really risky side effects? Like I'm not noticing any swelling in my ankles or anything, which I know that's like a side effect of water retention, I think.
Yeah. What about your face? What about your periocular region under your eyes?
No, pretty much the same. Yeah. I have like a skincare routine, so I think I'm doing fine.
I look at it like
I
this.
look the same right now.
Worry about side effects when you actually have them, when you notice them, and not even necessarily worry about them, but deal with them as they come around. Don't look for them, because when you keep looking for something that's negative, you'll eventually find it, whether it's legit or not, if that makes sense. Especially when you're dealing with medication and you got a little bit of a concern about it. You've done a good job with this, bringing the dosage back into your routine and then slowly upping it. I think it's fantastic. I'm really happy for you on that front. But if you're not noticing side effects that are obvious to you, then don't look for them. Deal with them if you do notice them just naturally. Like if you're putting on your sock and you're like, God damn, my ankles are swollen up. Then you got a side effect and you can deal with it then. When you start looking for these things, it can build up your anxiety about these things.
Do you know what do you know, and that's not bad advice, but do you know what your, and that's good advice actually, but do you know what your average heart rate, resting heart rate was before you started taking the drug?
No, I should have checked it, I guess. No, I don't.
Well, I mean, you can check
But
it
I guess
easily.
it
You can learn how to take your own
fluctuates,
pulse, or you can get like an Aura ring, or you can just get a heart rate monitor. You can even get one of these little home EKG machines, that you put your fingers on. You can check for, what is it called, tachycardia.
Do you have
all
an
kinds of
Apple
shit.
Watch or an iPhone?
I have an iPhone, but I was going to add to what Spencer said. I do have I did buy from the same day I picked up my Minoxidil. I bought that cuff, that thing that wraps around your wrist and monitors your heart rate.
Yeah.
I bought one of those. Yeah, I bought one of those, and I do notice that it goes, it does raise up my heart rate as soon as I take it, but I don't feel anything physically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, usually, I mean, how long after you take it does it raise your heart rate?
I want to say when I take it, if I check myself 10 minutes later, I'll be in the high level, it'll be the red level, but I won't feel that. I won't have that physical feeling that I was telling you guys about, when I took my first dose.
And then if you check it 10 minutes later, what happens?
I guess I've never really done that.
Okay. Well,
I guess I just try to not worry about it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it, but just keep see what's going on. I mean, your heart rate can go up. As soon as I get up off of this chair, my heart rate's going to pop up by whatever, 10 points or more, just for getting up. So even the act of checking your heart rate can bring your heart rate up a little bit.
Yeah, but I also think that I was asking if you have an Apple Watch, you can get yourself an older Apple Watch. I think it goes back to the Apple Watch 4. They have a heart rate monitor built in that watch, and you can check your heart rate at any time you want, and it has an ongoing monitoring function where you can actually have a copy of the history of what's going on with your heart rate on your phone in the app. It's pretty slick. So if you want something, again, don't concentrate on this. Don't focus on this. But if you want something that's convenient, you don't have to sit down, put a strap around your arm and all that business. Just get a secondhand Apple Watch. I used to have one. I got rid of it because I got tired of dealing with all the notifications. I had the I didn't get the brand new one, the big one that's out, but I've had an Apple Watch for a couple of them for the past few years. Really great devices, but I just got tired of the notifications, and I could have turned them off. But yeah, it's just time to go back to analog.
You can do what I do. I hired a Jamaican lady. She's sitting in the green room right now. She checks my blood pressure, my heart monitor. Is that? Listen, I could. Is it wrong to say Jamaican lady? By the way, Joe.
No, I think that's fine.
I don't probably, but I don't know. Not to me.
I'm sure.
Okay, Jamaican or Filipino lady. How's that? She's half Jamaican, half Filipino.
Why can't you just say a lady, a healthcare worker?
She takes care of me.
A home healthcare worker.
She's going to take my blood pressure when I get out of here, and I may ask her for a little dinner, and then she gets to go home. My dad had one of those.
And you got to pay?
She gets to go home.
I would have to. Yeah, I would have to pay it now. I mean, I'm too young to get it on. What is it called, Medicare, or whatever. God forbid, dude. When that happens, Joe, just fucking shoot me, man.
I know where you live. I'll be there.
I work with guys. We get good health insurance from work, and some guys just can't even fucking. They're in their 60s, mid 60s. I met one guy in his 70s. I do construction, by the way, and they don't want to retire just because they want that health insurance. I guess.
Yeah, of course.
No, whatever is they're younger than whatever you get Medicare.
Yeah.
Whatever it's 62, I think it is.
Yeah.
Is when you get Medicare, but yeah, they just don't want to retire. Isn't that fucked, man?
That's the way of the world, man. That's the way the system
works. Well, they also
works.
don't want to retire because when you retire, you lose purpose for a lot of people. And that's when you start to wither away. But that's a different discussion. Look, I promised till 5 o'clock. If I got 60 likes, I'm fading fast. I'm developing a fever. Really appreciate your call, man. But I need to get off here. So thank you for the call.
Yeah, no problem.
It was
All right,
really
brother.
fun talking to you.
Listen,
It was a great subject, actually. So call back next week when Spencer's capture card works, and we can continue the conversation.
I may
get an update from
never
you.
put the capture card on again. I like this much better. Honestly, I'll call into Joe. Listen, I'm sorry Joe's such a party pooper, and we need to send him to a real doctor, I think, because this guy's
As I'm
getting sick a
dying
lot.
here.
All right, brother. Good luck, man.
Well, I'll keep you guys in touch. I always tune in almost every Friday.
Oh.
So I'll keep you
I
guys
appreciate
in
that.
touch. Probably.
We appreciate that, man.
Just remember.
We appreciate you, and I
Did
hope
you hit the like button, young man?
I did hit it. I hit it before we hit 60. I made sure because I was putting.
Okay.
I was gonna hit it sooner, but I was putting my topical my Rogaine on at the time while you were announcing.
I get it. Okay,
So I was
well
like,
that's
I
a good
gotta hurry
excuse.
up.
I'll accept that one.
And do not
All right,
forget,
I appreciate it.
I put in the chat, subscribe to my channel, Hair Loss Podcast, because we're going to be adding content on there, and we're going to try to drive people to the live show on this channel. But I have a lot of interesting shit that's going to come out this year. I decided to actually use that channel and make something out of it.
Yeah.
All right, brother?
Awesome.
Okay. All right, you take care.
Thanks for calling.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Unfortunately, Joe is sick, which I'm sorry to see that and hear that. But
I'm sorry to feel it.
Feel better, Joseph Tillman. Thank you so much for spending time with us and helping us get this message out to all of your,
It was your
all your
pleasure.
fans. It was my pleasure, of course. Guys, until next week. And guys, listen, I just put in the chat room.
Before you do, we'll get to that in a second. Hit the like button, people. I sat here for 2 hours with a fever. Really appreciate the support. You guys have done great. So everyone watching this now, and then everyone watching the replay, which will start in just a few minutes, please hit that like button. It's really helping the algorithm. And yeah. And then Hair Loss Podcast. Spencer was about to talk about that.
Yeah, guys, subscribe to Hair Loss
hilarious.
Podcast. It's a channel that I put up a long time ago. There's some like old fucked up videos on there. But I'm going to turn that into something this year. We're going to be working with some people to make that happen, and we're going to be doing a lot of really interesting interviews. You're going to see maybe some of your own faces on there. Some guys have already committed to being a part of things. So it's going to be, I think, some unique content. Who the fuck knows? We're going to do our best. But the thing that we want to do is we want to build different avenues on this platform to get people to the live broadcast. So if you are tuning in on some podcast somewhere, make sure you subscribe to Joe Tillman's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/hair transplant mentor. That's youtube.com/hair transplant mentor. Subscribe and click the bell, and subscribe to my currently useless channel, which is Hair Loss Podcast. I don't even know what the whole URL is, but you could find it, Hair Loss Podcast, Spencer Kobren, and subscribe. I guess you got to hit the bell on that thing too. I've never done this before.
And don't forget our Instagrams. My Instagram is at Joe Tillman Official. I've started doing more reels with, I think, some tidbits of knowledge and wisdom.
Absolutely. I think it's great
that I'm
doing
imparting upon
finally
everyone. So please follow me there, and follow Spencer at Spencer Kobren on Instagram as well.
Yeah, if all 53 of you guys who are currently in the room follow me
56.
at Spencer Kobren, 56, I'm going to see it right away. Just go there at Spencer Kobren on Instagram and follow me. It helps a lot of people. And follow Joe, of course, because he's sick.
All right.
All right, guys. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.